Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the inaugural Alumni video podcast, episode 1. So I'm Fauzi, and I'll be representing the Office for Student Graduates Affairs, OSG. And for today, it will be an interesting session because we specifically fit this title as Grad-Titude, Keep It Real. So as you all know, the whole sequence of this event is we will be inviting alumni, your fellow alumni, to give in the inputs and contribute to how the whole argument and how the whole session will be like on this episode of the post-COVID world. Is there hope for my dream job? So in this episode, we'll explore what it means to have a dream job. Is there opportunities in this time and age? So before we begin it proper, for all my alumni and friends watching, if you have any questions, you may fill it at the chat section over in YouTube, and I will list it accordingly. And for the first part of it, we will have our two esteemed alumni who will share with us on the topic today. So we have with us both Jason Low and Joseph Lee today.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, so instead of me introducing them, why not maybe we can start with Joseph. Can you introduce yourself? When did you actually graduated, in what course, and what you are currently doing in your career?
Thanks, Fauzi, and good evening, everybody. I'm Joseph. I graduated from Republic Poly back in 2009, earning my diploma in sports and leisure management, DSLM in short. And I'm currently working for Rakuten Sports, and I actually just joined. And previously, I was working for Arsenal Football Club.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jason. I graduated in 2015. Same as Joseph, I graduated with a diploma in sports leisure management, which I believe is called sports management now. I'm currently working for Sport5, a sports marketing agency. Right now, I'm in charge of football, golf, and a bit of esports as of now. Previously, I was working for a table tennis company called T2. Yeah.
Great. So for myself, I may be working with OSG, but I'm also an alumni. Actually, I graduated from STA in new media. Currently, is named as Diploma in Media Production and Design. So back in 2015, so I'm in the same batch as Jason. That's great. So okay, let's start this proper. I think we are diving straight to the heart of this topic, which is what is a dream job. Maybe I can pose this to Joseph. What is a dream job?
It's really a difficult question to answer, and I think it really differs from people to people. For me personally, when I think about this question, it's actually broken down into different stages of my life. So when I was still in school in Republic Poly, I remember my dream job was to get into a job where I can look into regional sports events, the opportunity to just look beyond Singapore. And that was the only criteria. And when I was very fortunate to work for ESPN Star Sports in the operation team where we were organizing a Junior World Cup for the hockey. So we did a Singapore chapter, and also we did the finals in the Johor Bahru. So even though it is just across the border, for me, I already achieved what I wanted to set out to do. And very simply put, I think my priorities shifted and also my goals shifted. As I progressed in my career, I started looking for more functional driven, something that actually I thought would be more sensible to what I want to do, and which is more related to sponsorship and also commercial partnership. And I think the function also changed me to be more aggressive, to be more ambitious in the things that I'm chasing after. So I wouldn't say that dream job is like an end point, but more like it really depends on where you are in your life, and more importantly, what are you considering at the priority at that particular stage, and more importantly, what is your like, for example, is it financial, is it family planning, or is it like you're trying to test out the particular industry? And yeah, I think that will also be influencing what your own definition of dream job is. So.
I mean, there's always this notion of should I pursue happiness of a high-paying job? Which one do you prioritize in this journey so far?
It's also very tricky, right? I mean, if you're, I mean, I didn't come from a very well-to-do family for a start, and I think that having that financial reward from a job is definitely very important. And it is also equally important to pursue something that you like. So in some ways you have to compromise. So really is up to the available opportunity that is in front of you, and as well as, again, the priority and where you are at that point in time. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is kind of like my take on it.
All right, we need the balance. Okay, so
Yeah.
hey, for you, Jason, you 5 years since you graduated. So do you ever see yourself, where you are now, when you're planning back in you are studying?
Actually, no, not really. And actually, I wasn't very into sports as well before I joined Republic Poly. But through many sorts of interventions, and I end up how I am now. But I can't say that the education route didn't prepare me to what I am now. Because I really agree that RP has really this very good system to prepare their students into setting out for their careers. So I really appreciate that. So, but it was when I met my mentor, Joseph, then I really got to learn more about the industry and more about the various stakeholders and the dynamics of the industry. And that really cemented my firm stand of working and pursuing a future in this industry, actually. Yeah, but all in all, I'm very thankful for RP's unorthodox method of teaching us. Yeah.
Agree. It's, PBL really shape us to be more, and actually prepare us to be more prepared for the industry. I would say that. Yeah.
Okay, well, but I think one of it is, I think especially this COVID climate, is this even the right time for a career switch? You feel maybe Joseph? Yeah.
Well, this question is very targeted to my personal experience, because I was working for Arsenal for 2 years, and during the COVID period, I won't say I was looking out, but it was also the opportunity that was available during that time. There was a lot of internal struggles, a lot of questions, a lot of apprehension. As you can imagine, this is a moment where not anybody can predict now and also in the future. So changing a job doesn't mean that the new role that you're going into will give you the stability, and after 3 months of the probation, what's going to happen. Those questions sets in, and obviously going into a new role would also means that the opportunities are also very different. So I think there will always be fear, but I won't say that there is a specific time that you need to switch a job, because again, I think it's really up to the individual and also the priority. Sometimes you just feel that you can't contribute more to the role, or you may not feel motivated. Maybe that is a sign for you to consider. Alternatively, the other side could actually be an appeal that pulls you in. So it really depends on what is the opportunity that is also that is presented on in front of you as well.
Okay. Yeah, that is very real. I think you have to really see especially the area of work that you are in. I think different industry varies. So yeah, it really depends.
Yeah.
And then there's the idea of people who want to switch, but then the other end of group of people, how comfortable can we get in a job? Jason, yeah, how comfortable can we get in a job?
I think my personal opinion would be not to get too comfortable with our jobs. You need to have that little bit of nervousness lah. It's not. It helps to keep you going, and if not, the complacency will kick in, banality will kick in, and then you may start to burn out. You lose the interest in your job, and then you will feel the dilemma is coming. You don't know whether to switch job or not. Especially in this situation, it's very hard to make this kind of decision. So I don't think we should be very comfortable with our job, but at the same time, we should also be a bit more laid back, a bit more relaxed, and be confident in what we are doing. Yeah.
Okay. How about the idea of career development in taking courses during our outside our job scope? How is it?
I think career development courses are very essential in upgrading ourselves because it equips us with relevant knowledge to conquer greater heights, so to speak. But it's also worth noting that development courses, it comes in various forms, from conventional class, taking up courses like going for masters, PhD, or acquiring soft skills. These are all sorts of upgrading, so we should not deny that. And when it comes to whether you want to take up a course or not, I would rather we take a step back and look at where we want to be at first. And like what Joseph said, what the definition of dream job, like where are we now? What's our current phase in life? And what are the things that we want to actualize? And there are bound to be courses that help us to upgrade ourselves in order to actualize them. So I think that's a more strategic way of knowing when to acquire these skills or not.
Okay. Yeah. And for you, Joseph, do you find the relevance in taking up courses throughout, since you graduated back in 2009?
Yeah, I think so. Totally agree with what Jason said. Upgrading and always be curious about your industry, always being hungry is definitely one of the key characteristics that we need to have in pursuing not only our industry, but also in our own individual path, right? Whether are we a educator, are we doing in the sports industry, are we doing anything? I think having the hunger, having the desire to learn and being curious is very important. I actually step out after working 2 years to pursue a master's in technopreneurship and innovation at NTU. So I continue to pursue higher learning just because I feel that technology and innovation was a space that I wanted to explore. And also at the same time, because I've earned my diploma in sports, my degree also is in sports. Having a diversification allow me to broaden my own skill sets, and then going into a little bit more general business, was something that I was looking for. And yeah, I think so that having this consistent hunger to learn is very, very important in any stage of our life.
Agree.
And building on that, I mean, this will wrap up the part where I will ask you questions, and we will jump soon to the list of questions that people have been asking, either by when they are applying for to watch this session or via live now. But maybe for this can be posed to both of you. What was the advice I can give for those who are lost, or they are still figuring out? Even they might just have graduated this year or even a few years, but they are just working because there is a need, but they are still lost. What advice can you give to them? So Joseph.
Yeah, I think now is a very challenging period. I have to admit. Even my close friends in the industry, they are telling me that they are taking a hit. It's not the best period of time. Everybody is trying to help everybody. And I remember when I graduated, it was very different because I was the first batch of sports and leisure management diploma holders. Obviously, the question back then is, what is out there in the sports industry? Back then, Sports Hub was not built. Formula One was organizing at the second year. There was no such thing as a WTA, which is the tennis event that we had in Singapore, indoor stadium. And then obviously there wasn't a lot of very attractive jobs that we have right now, like the Premier League clubs like Arsenal, Chelsea, English Premier League, La Liga, Dortmund. They have offices all in Singapore. And right now, if I'm graduating, I'll be very, very excited. Actually, to actually add on to one of the questions that is being asked on YouTube is, if you are graduating now, what should you do? Because now it's also a very uncertain period of time. I use LinkedIn a lot, even when I was in RP. A lot of people in the industry uses that platform to connect to one another professionally. I use that platform to write into people to ask for internship, ask for experiences, just to ask for a cup of coffee. And you'll be surprised that people who are like-minded, they'll give you the time. And from there, when you know somebody and that somebody will be able to introduce you, being able to show the desire that you want something and you take the proactiveness to go and get it, is also very important. If you just sit there and you're waiting for a job to land on your lap, it's going to be very hard lah, and especially during this period of time. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the mentor acts as a sort of a light in
Correct.
these dark times even.
Yeah, and beyond mentor, I think the people in the industry will be very open to help. And even as a small capacity of internship, because internship is probably the first route to a bigger thing. It may not be what you are trying to go for right now, but the internship is a step into the bigger thing. That's what I would think.
Yeah. Right. How about you, Jason? What do you feel about those who are still figuring their way?
Actually, I really like this question that you asked, Fauzi, because I was in that phase as well. And I believe out of 10 graduates, there are definitely more than 5 who face the same situation, like myself too. Then again, with this situation, the best thing to do is study, actually. But just kidding. But my advice as a person who has already experienced this is to stay calm and also to reflect what you truly desire, because often not what you are studying or what you have already studied might not be something that you want to do. And you will be very anxious because you have been wasted 3 years in poly, and you don't want to waste another 2-3 years to study something new, and then you go into a new industry again. So there's a lot of things to consider and to sacrifice for. But if what it is what it is, then we really have to think of what we want to do first. And often not a dream job that comes to our mind, right, is something that our heart truly desires. So I would suggest to really quieten down ourselves and also to see if this occupation is something that we really want. If it is, then you have to start using a map or using whatever. You have to start thinking, how are you going to achieve this this occupation, this position that you want, be it going through another new course to upgrade yourself to get this new skill, or to study all over again for a new major. These are some of the things that we consider. Of course, what Joseph said is very true. I mean, when I first met him, the first thing he asked me to do was to get an internship as well. So I really agree with Joseph. Internship really works. It builds a network, and you get to break into the industry with internship as a pretense to know people. Yes, so I do want to encourage people who are in this situation to really sit down and think through, and to get an internship, to try to get more people who are in that expertise in that field to help you, to give you pointers and guidance. Yeah.
That's fantastic advice. Thank you so much. I think we have end our way to the first portion, and now I think there's a bulk of questions that I feel are more relevant. There are real concerns that need to be addressed at the same time. So yeah, I'll just jump straight to the questions, and I will jump also to those who are asking live a bit. So okay, maybe this I can pose to Joseph. Like, what is the growth drivers of the sport market today? Like, are there mitigation strategies that sports company are taking at this point in time?
Growth driver. What do you mean by growth driver?
I mean, in this sports market, like we need 1-2 years, will it shift due to COVID, or are there strategies that in this industry they are trying to hold so that it can sustain beyond this period well, smoothly? Yeah.
I think it's within Singapore. What I learned is sports business is always driven to give back to community. So sports, from a government perspective, is to drive healthy lifestyle, participation, keeping healthy, is a participation kind of thing. But sports business interpreted at the international level is about sponsorship, it's about media coverage, it's about the massive stadium having gate receipt, doing high profile events and stuff like that. And I think today is a very unprecedented period where you see the Olympic Games is being cancelled. Actually, by now we should have ended Euro 2020. We are in the midst of Tokyo 2020, and all these are being shelved. And on top of that, Premier League is not happening back then. La Liga, Bundesliga, F1, nothing is on. I think even the industry leader, to share a little bit also within major clubs at the highest level, they are also trying to discuss what's going to happen. So I think there isn't really an answer to say, okay, what's going to happen in 2 years? Because even today, we are taking one step at a time. If you look at Liverpool's, when they lift the trophy, this image that you see yesterday was actually planned maybe just a couple of months ago, and there are many routes could have happened. The league could have cancelled. A lot of things could have happened, and I think it's very difficult to define one point to say what would drive the industry forward. But I think everybody is trying, and depending on the person's career and the choices, what he wants to do, whether it's in Singapore or is it at an international level, this is probably a good time for the younger generation to come out with ideas to tell us who are already in the job to share with us what do you think. Like, we are using TikTok as a way to create engagement. You see all the footballers are doing it, the NBA players are doing it. Is that the trend? Using technology, sometimes it's not from the industry people, but also from ground up. What the people are also looking for.
All right. So I had one question for Jason. So you are now in the sports industry, and based on the current situation that we are in, what is really the best direction with regards to specialization?
To specialization.
Yep.
I mean, it's very, my answer will be pretty much very similar to the previous question. Then again, I really owe who I am today to Joseph for really helping me to straighten out my thoughts. Yeah.
Don't say that. You what you have today is what you work hard for.
Yeah, but I'm really very thankful that he's really here to help me. So I mean, just to give everyone a better context, I mean, Joseph and I met at the Alumni network session about 3 to 4 years ago, and then back then I was really a fresh graduate who came out from army, and I really didn't know what to do. And Joseph, he actually gave me a project to undertake so that I can better know myself after the project, what my interests are. So after the project, although the project didn't come to fruition, but it was a project that I really learned a lot, and I really want to devote myself into the sports industry. So I'm really very thankful. So I mean, Fauzi, to your question, you asked how to choose a specialization, right? It is really hard because you don't know, because there's just so many options in front of you, but and I really don't have a good answer for this. But what I would encourage is to have friends to really talk about it and discuss things through, understand the pros and cons of everything, and then you make a decision slowly and deliberately. That's how you come into a specialization to any types of jobs, be it sports industry or whatever industry that you are in.
Right.
If I can actually add on, if I can also add on to this, right? Again, internship is also a very good opportunity to try out this specialization that you think you want to specialize. I started from operation in the sports industry, which is all about setting up events, the first in, the last out, making sure that the event is executed properly and safe. And then I realized that is something that is very time consuming, very intensive. And then at the same time, is very tiring. And then I take a step back and I move into client servicing. So client servicing is a role where we have the people who look for the sponsors, and then you are playing the middleman to coordinate with the internal department to make sure that execution is being, that request is being executed. So it's a lot of managing of expectation. And then from there, you get a sensing of whether this is something that you like or not. And then eventually for me, I felt that I'm more of a frontline person where I want to talk to brands. And I ended up in the commercial partnership department where I'll talk to brands and then link them up with different types of sports event, whether it's football, mixed martial arts, golf, and then from there you play the middleman role.
Yeah, then touching on that the part on internship, there's one question of, we don't have experience in this new field and we want to start with an internship to gain experience, but when should we start applying for a job, or how long should the internship should be for us to gain experience? Yeah.
Jason, you want to take that first?
Sure. I think there's no fixed duration for internship, but if you really want me to come up with a duration, I think 6 months to 1 year will be a good internship duration. I mean, the first 3 months you get to learn the ropes, and subsequently you get to display what you've learned. You start to go into the application phase, and that's how you learn. I wouldn't suggest people to stay above or beyond 1 year, because you have already learned what you need to learn, and by going beyond 1 year, you are practically working already. So so I think one year is an ideal duration for all of us to look at for an internship. And like what Joseph said, internship platforms, you can always see from LinkedIn if there's any availabilities. So I really urge people to start using LinkedIn, because it's really a very wonderful platform tool for us to connect with working professionals around the world in various industries. Yeah.
And I would say, I mean, duration doesn't really matter. Actually, what matters is the person who gives you the task. I mean, duration it matters, but if within that 2 short months, if the reporting person gives you very important role, you can get a lot out of it, even if it's 1 month as well. Personally, when I was in RP, there's no such thing as internship. I spent all my holidays writing to the Sports Council, the Olympic Council, all the events company, and all the events that was running available on the calendar, just to volunteer my time, just to get a sensing of what does it take to be in the person's position, and what is his consideration. And that will gives me an idea of, if I want to pursue that as a career, this is what I will be doing. So sometimes maybe not even internship, sometimes it's volunteering, sometimes it's part-time. And then you get a sensing, oh, okay, so this is what it takes to be in operation. And then when you know the person, then you can ask for maybe an internship, because you are volunteering, you get to interact with the people who are the organizer, and then you can, say, hi, hey, I'm so and so. This is my diploma, and I really interested to pursue the career in the sports industry, and I would love to pursue an internship with you. And would you be willing to give me some time? And this is my availability. And I think most people will be very open to discuss the opportunities.
Okay. I'll take one light question before we jump to serious. What are your EPL clubs that you both like? I think we'll take a light one before we take a, what are your EPL clubs?
I'm pretty sure this question was asked by some of our friends. But I'm a Chelsea boy, and I will live and die as a blue.
Ken?
And Joseph, do you go for Arsenal? Do you work with Arsenal? Are you with them, or what do you do in Arsenal? Yeah.
Now that I don't work for Arsenal, I remember when I was working, when I went to the interview with Arsenal on the very first day, this question they popped up. I was very honest with them that I'm a United fan, and they said they are fine with it. But knowing that I can work for a Premier League club, Arsenal did give me the opportunity, and I feel the affinity. I won't say I'm a fan, but I will say that, this is a club that, changed my life as well, giving me the opportunity to look at things at a very, very high level. So yeah, I mean, Arsenal is special for me.
Okay. Because the questions on football is great. Okay, maybe I would like to touch on these two last questions. We just build on this. You know, your job demands, like how do you balance between your job demands and your social life? Maybe this is more of when things get better. Yeah. Maybe for Jason, yeah, the events, especially in events, how do you balance that? Yeah.
I think we usually take a lot of breaks and a lot of leaves before the event starts. So that's where our allow period begins, because during events there's practically no day, no night. We just have to slog our guts out every single day until the event's over. So it really depends on how big the company is, how many projects it's managing, how many events they are managing, and you have to stagger your time, because often not your weekends are always fun. And your friends or your spouse have to understand that this is the nature of the job, and this is how it is. So, but in terms of how you are going to separate your working life and your personal lives, right? My friends always tell me time management is something that we humans manage. So we are definitely able to come up with time if we think it's worthy enough to sacrifice. So it really depends on your priorities. Where is it? Because I'm pretty sure if you have a girlfriend, if you knock off at 12 a.m., you will still meet her for a while. I mean, not coming from experience, but I'm just giving an analogy.
You're setting a very high benchmark there.
Yeah, but doing an event, but working for events nature, this is how it is. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would empathize and sympathize. Yeah.
I think for me, it's about the very cliche, be present. I think in whatever that we do, we want to give the 100% to what we are currently doing. It's very, very difficult. Being present is very, very difficult, but we always try to do that. And when we are present, naturally, we will find the balance.
Okay, that's great. I mean, I apologize to everyone if I can't answer all the questions, but maybe I'll just have one more question before we wrap this up. But to all those whose questions can't be answered, I apologize. Maybe I think different market requires different focus. You know, some markets has more demand and all that. Yeah, so maybe I'll just take one more questions. This is a nice. I would say it's a heavy but nice wrap up to your industries. What are your comments on gender diversity in the industry and the workplace? You know, then we wrap up with that. Yeah. What the gender diversity in
Jason.
Joseph, go ahead.
Well, it's very it's a tough question, to be honest. I think in the industry, a lot of the leadership are men, especially in the football club world. Even the department, most of them are very man-driven, because, you know, sports, the nature of the job is sports, and you need to have a lot of knowledge in the players, the excitement. I'm not saying that women don't get football. I'm sure there's a lot of them knows, but I think it's just the nature of the job that gravitates towards more men, I would say. But I think would that change? Of course. I think in Singapore, there isn't such thing as, you must be a man in order to be qualified for this job. You must be a woman to be qualified for this job. I think it's still meritocracy. The person that is working in Premier League right now is in Singapore office, Singaporean, is a woman, and she's very, very successful, working for Barcelona in the previous time, and now Singaporean working for the Premier League, and is a woman, and she did it. So I don't think it's a gender thing.
I think it's a stereotype that people will associate sports with more male involved, because it is a physical thing, and people are just more inclined to think that males are more than females. But in actual reality, actually in my company, I'm the only guy in my division. So it's very different working with an all-female environment as compared to men. But my point is, there are actually a lot of women in our industry. It's just that they are underrated, not underrated. They are just not on the records, you see. So it's very hard to justify, and perhaps don't think sports as just an activity, physical activity that we do with people, but think it more like a management. It is still like a company as compared to other different sectors. The ratios is still the same. I mean, government definitely will set restrictions on the gender ratios and things like that. So it doesn't really affect me if my boss is a female or a male. So, but what I'm trying to say is there is no such thing as gender discrimination in sports lah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's beautiful. So I think I apologize again for the questions I'm not able to answer. I think if any, I think we can always revisit the chat again in YouTube. If you can look through any questions that you feel you can really answer, you can reply it in the chat. And for those who are watching, you can again revisit the chat to see the answers maybe, because some of it I might have missed out on it. So my apologies. Again, thank you to both Jason and Joseph for joining us. I feel you have come on board, hopefully to share a bit, to share the limelight to really the family that we are as an alumni, to share with our friends, our seniors, our juniors, and hopefully this is only episode 1, and you guys are honored to be part of episode 1. We will be having more episodes in the future, and more topics that are targeted to different group of people. So please, for those who are watching, do join us in the upcoming episodes, and to really keep in touch. I think it's important that alumni, we keep in touch. We are holding us knitted, like maybe us alumni in Republic Poly and LinkedIn, and we posted our link to Facebook and to the alumni website where you can even volunteer. I think it's important that for those who are early in the industry can give back to our juniors who are really just learning the ropes when they are stepping in to graduate in the future. So thank you again, Joseph and Jason, for joining in. And for everyone,
thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Stay connected, everyone.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good night.